What is 1V-LSD? And could it potentially be a legal replacement for traditional LSD? That's exactly what we're going to be talking about today. And I'm super excited because if 1V-LSD gives you the same effect as traditional LSD, that means that millions of people around the world are going to be able to experience the profundity that is an LSD trip. LSD is one of the most popular psychedelics for a reason because the high is so powerful, it's so clean, it's so easy to take, and personally, LSD is one of my favorite psychedelics because for me, it blasts me right off into spiritual awakening territory. I get tons of deep and profound insights about myself, about the nature of existence. I become more compassionate, more loving, more conscious and aware. And if more people could get access to this substance, that's going to be amazing. So, just to give you a little bit of context, the way that I discovered 1V-LSD was that I basically got an email from someone. Somebody reached out to me and said, hey, I'm from Lizard Labs or Syntex Synthetics, which is a world-renowned research chemical company that has been bringing legal LSD alternatives such as 1P-LSD, 1CP-LSD, 1B-LSD, and most recently 1V-LSD to the mainstream market since 2012. We love your YouTube channel, how you advocate safe use of psychedelics as a spiritual tool. Interested in collaborating with you. So basically, they said that they want to share the LSD experience with the world, and they wanted me to just test the substance and to raise awareness about this substance because if it turns out to be really good, then that means that we potentially have a legal LSD alternative on our hands, which is awesome because you can purchase it legally. You don't have to worry about getting into legal trouble. And also, it's safer because the lab is making consistent doses of LSD. So, for example, if I'm buying actual LSD from some random person on the street, since it's illegal, that's the only way that I can acquire it, and I don't know what I'm getting. I could be getting an N-bomb, which is basically something somebody tells you is LSD, but you take it, and it could potentially be toxic for your body. It could lead you to have a bad trip. It could give you like toxic experience basically because you don't know what you're getting. If some drug dealer just tells you it's LSD, you don't know. It's very difficult to test. You need to buy a testing kit. Sometimes they don't always work. So 1V-LSD is a prodrug of LSD. So what that means is that when you take it, it converts into LSD in your body, and it's virtually indistinguishable from traditional LSD. And yeah, so they said if I make a video, raise some awareness, they'll send me a few $100s as part of an advertisement. And they said just make an informational video, don't make it like an advertisement. So in this video here, I'm not changing my opinion about the substance because they're paying me. I'm basically just taking that few $100s as a donation, and I'm talking about this substance, which I would have wanted to talk about anyways because it's really good, okay? So let's get into my trip report, and before I do that, I just wanted to make a disclaimer that these psychedelics are not toys, okay, guys? So it's very important that when you are trying to take a psychedelic substance for whatever reason, it's important that you have the right mindset, you have the right intention. We're not using psychedelics here on this channel just to like get high and to have a good time and to play video games and eat pizza and party with our friends. That's not why I advocate psychedelics. The reason why I like to talk about them here is because they're extremely powerful tools for growing yourself as a person, for diving into the areas of your life where you're lacking awareness. So many people experience toxic cycles where you're just falling into the same emotional pattern of anger or avoidance or addiction over and over again. It's a cycle, and people spend their whole lives stuck in these negative cycles. But what I've found in my life, by taking something like magic mushrooms or LSD, which are extremely safe substances physically for your body, they will not cause you any physical harm, like from any chemical reaction. These substances are super safe, and if I can take one of these, they raise my awareness dramatically. And with that raised consciousness, you got to understand, monks who live in Thailand, in Asia, in Japan, they spend 5-10 years practicing meditation. Even people in the West spend 5-10 years practicing meditation, which I recommend. I do meditation every single day. It's super powerful. But the goal of meditation really is to increase your mindfulness and awareness, and so that you can have a realization of your true nature, so that you can disidentify with your ego, and so that you can realize what you actually are, which is pure empty awareness, or infinity, or the universe itself. It can't be put into words. So by taking a psychedelic, you can have basically 5 years of meditation thrust upon you within an hour. And this is very, very powerful for people who actually want to grow themselves spiritually and who are using the substance consciously with intention, and also by doing research and doing it carefully. But that can potentially be dangerous, which is why psychedelics are illegal in the first place, is because people use them irresponsibly. People use them unconsciously, thinking that it's just a toy. That, oh, I'm going to take some mushrooms, I'm going to play Doom Eternal and eat a whole pizza to my face. That kind of attitude is going to get you burned. Okay, so whenever you take any psychedelic substance, you should treat it as if it's a loaded gun, and you should use it with extreme caution and respect. All right. Right now, let's get into my 1V-LSD trip report. Is this substance comparable to traditional LSD? And if it is, that's going to be pretty amazing. Okay, so the way that I use LSD in general, or any psychedelic, is I make sure that I take the entire day off. And also, I actually make sure I take 2 days off. That's because your consciousness is in a radically different state. You will not be able to function normally in the world. So if you think you're going to take some 1V-LSD at 8 in the morning, and then you're going to be good to go to work at 5 p.m., no, you're not going to be good to go to work. That whole day, you need to have the whole day off to yourself. People aren't calling you. You don't have to go to a meeting. You don't have to go to school later. Day off is important. And why I say you need to take 2 days off is because for me personally, after doing LSD or even mushrooms, it's very difficult for me to get a good night's sleep that night, because my consciousness has been changed dramatically. I feel very awake and aware. So good luck trying to fall asleep. For me, whenever I do LSD, normally I end up going to sleep at like 4 a.m. in the morning. Even if I lie in bed by midnight, it'll take me hours to get to sleep, just because I don't know why. I think it has to do with the substance, but that night I can't sleep. After that, I have no trouble sleeping at all. It's just that one night after it's difficult for me to sleep. So that's why you want to take 2 days off, and that's what I did. So what I did was around noon, I took 1 tab of 1V-LSD, and it was very powerful. So if you're just a beginner, you can try taking half a tab. That'll be good. But I took 1 tab of 1V-LSD, and just as a side note, the reason why this legal version of LSD is so awesome is because it's actually measurable. So the lab is making sure that they're making consistent doses. The problem is when you get LSD from the streets, you don't know how much is on there. You don't know if the tab is even, because if you cut it in half, but there's more LSD on the left side than there is on the right side, then you're going to be screwed, basically. So whenever we do psychedelics, we want to make it as measurable and as consistent as possible. And when you do something like 1V-LSD, it helps you with that. So I took 1 tab. I just swallowed it with some water. You don't need to leave it on your tongue. I just drank some water, swallowed the tab. I actually have the tab right here if you guys wanted to look. It's just basically a piece of paper. Here it is. So here's 3 tabs of 1V-LSD. I don't know if you guys can see this, but they mailed this to me. They mailed me a couple of free samples so that I can test it and make this video review. So you just break off 1 tab, take it, swallow it, and what I do always is whenever I'm beginning my trip, I make sure that I'm taking it in a conscious environment, that my mind is in a certain place where I'm telling myself, okay, I'm going to trip today. I need to make sure that I clean my house, that I make sure I wash the dishes, clean my desk, my room, even I even sweep and vacuum. I make sure everything is laid out for me. So if I need some water, I have water available. If I need a journal to write in, I have that accessible. I have a few books, like spiritual books I have laying around if I want to read something. So I make sure everything's safe, everything's clean, my whole environment is prepared, and I'm prepared. The way I like to prepare is to exercise a little bit. So I just do my morning routine, which for me involves some exercise, some meditation, and also I like to take a cold shower as well, which gets me very awake and aware. I do some journaling as well in the morning. So make sure you go through some kind of morning routine that gets you in a good state of mind so that you're conscious and aware. If you're just taking this substance like at night at a party where people are drinking, and then that's going to be a bad experience. You're going to be unconscious, and it's going to cause resistance, going to cause panic attacks, and it's going to make you feel uncomfortable. So you don't want that. So I actually took the substance with my girlfriend. We tripped together, and normally I like taking LSD by myself, and my first few trips I've done by myself, and I highly recommend tripping by yourself, especially for your first few times. That's a fantastic idea because you're kind of in your own little bubble, and if you ever need to process some kind of deep and dark emotional trauma that you've been carrying with yourself for years since your childhood, I feel a lot safer doing that when I'm alone. And see, nowadays I feel more comfortable taking LSD, so I feel cool doing it with my girlfriend. She's an experienced tripper as well, so I don't feel like I have to babysit her. I can just kind of leave her alone, let her do her own thing as I focus on myself. So yeah, if you do want to trip with a friend, do it with one friend who you trust is going to take it seriously. All right? Okay, so into the cool stuff. So I felt the LSD come on after about 20 minutes. So this is 1V-LSD, just to clarify. I swallowed it with water, doing some meditation, waiting for it to come on. I was listening to some binaural beats, and after about 20 minutes, I felt it come on very quickly. So normally LSD for me takes about 45 minutes. This one took about 20 minutes. And I just noticed very subtly my body started to feel a little different. It's hard to explain, but for me, the way it comes on is there's just kind of this weird feeling like in the back of my head, the back of my throat. All of a sudden, I just become very aware and conscious of any tension that's in my body. And also, I start to feel my energy shift in a way that's difficult to explain, but it doesn't feel like I'm sober anymore. Slowly, it feels like my bodily energy is shifting. My body feels a little different. It doesn't feel weird or bad or scary. It just feels a little different. And for me, whenever I'm coming up on psychedelics, I always get really cold to the point where sometimes I'm shivering. And I think just for me, it's because my body is like just having trouble like learning how to like manage my energy. It's kind of difficult to explain, but I get a little bit cold. So in this particular situation, I was meditating. I feel it coming on, starting to feel that feeling. I'm excited because I love doing psychedelics. I don't do them frequently. I haven't tripped in a month or two since doing 1V-LSD. So I'm excited. I'm ready to have a spiritual experience. It's another tip I have. Don't trip unless you feel hungry for a spiritual awakening. If you're going to trip but you're going to back out an hour or two into the trip, don't do it. You got to be prepared. So I was excited, I was feeling good, and I decided, okay, I'm feeling a little bit cold, so I'm gonna hop into a warm shower, right? That'll help warm me up. So I just got up, walked over to my bathroom, turned on the shower, warm water, and I got in to the warm shower. And this is when I actually started getting some spiritual awareness where, see, spiritual is the wrong word because it's just awareness, okay? The reason why I say spiritual is because there's just more awareness, basically. So I've noticed my awareness increasing where I'm just starting to feel very mindful of my body movements, more aware of my breath. I also feel myself getting more insights about just reality, just paying attention to my energy, paying attention to the present moment. I'm noticing details of my bathroom area, just feeling really good and present. I get into that warm shower, and this is when I started getting my first main insight of the trip, which is an insight I had into the nature of codependence and the difference between abundance and lack. And this is an amazing spiritual topic that I love to think about and contemplate. What is the difference between feeling abundant and full of love or feeling needy and lacking? What's the difference? So in this moment, I felt cold and I felt like I was kind of dependent on the warm water in the shower to keep me warm. So I felt like I wasn't able to generate internal heat on my own. And not because of that I couldn't. This wasn't a physical thing. My physical body felt fine. But psychologically, I felt, okay, I'm gonna use some water to keep me warm. And there's nothing wrong with that, but this kind of just made me have an insight about what's the difference between relying upon an external source to make you feel good versus generating good feelings that are coming from within you? And I noticed that many people rely on whether it be drugs like marijuana or food or entertainment to make you feel happy. The problem is whenever you're relying on something else to make you feel good, what that is saying about yourself is that you aren't able to generate happiness from within. You're lacking in that state. And we've all been there. Just, it's a natural human experience to feel cravings for things. But I notice that if you want to have ultimate happiness, if you want to feel abundant in each moment, if you want to be attractive, you want to be full of love and wisdom and awareness, then you need to be able to generate your own happiness, your own awareness and wisdom from within, generating within, which is why meditation is so important. So again, even when we're using something like a psychedelic, still in a sense, we're relying on an external substance like LSD to give me awareness. And there's, again, nothing wrong with that at all. It's a tool that temporarily raises your awareness big time, and from that raised state you can actually do a lot of permanent and lasting healing and gain lasting insights. So psychedelics are great. Also though, meditation is very important, which is why it's important to have a daily meditation practice where every single day you spend 20 minutes just watching your breath, cultivating your awareness, your mindfulness without psychedelics. Because that really is what it means to be an abundant human being, is that I can feel really good without psychedelics. And then if I do want to go deeper, then I can use some psychedelics and go even deeper as a bonus. But the general point I'm trying to make here is that whenever you are relying on anything to make you feel good, what that means is you're in an egotistical state of consciousness. You're reliant on an outside thing, and you can't be happy. So in this moment, I was relying on the shower water to give me heat. And if I were to step out of the shower, I would kind of miss the water and I'd be uncomfortable. So ultimate happiness is your ability to feel good in whatever circumstance, in whatever moment. So recently I've been taking freezing cold showers for this exact reason, because if I can feel okay and I can feel grounded and present and I can feel happy, even if there's like ice cold water on my skin, which feels like nails just like penetrating my skin, it sucks, cold showers. But if I can feel good in that moment in a cold shower, then I can feel good in any moment. So training yourself in that sense is very important. That's about generating love from within. So this is true with codependent relationships as well. If you rely on your partner to make you feel safe or to make you feel happy, or to give you love or sex or whatever you need from that person, you're codependent. You can't be happy without them. That creates a lot of toxicity. That's the root of all arguments. Really, it's selfishness. I need you to make me feel happy. If you want to have a healthy relationship with another human and also with life in general, you got to be good on your own. Got to feel good in each moment, and then you can have a healthy and interdependent relationship as opposed to a codependent one. So that was the first insight. Generate love from within yourself by raising your awareness. So the main topic that I was contemplating on this trip that I set my intention for was awareness equals abundance. And abundance is just a feeling. It's really all it is. It's just a feeling of, I feel good now. That's what that is. It's positivity, joy, bliss, love. It's abundance. And I realized that awareness equals abundance. So the more awareness you have, the more love you're able to embody and give to yourself and also to other people. Compassion, right? The wise masters like Jesus Christ, Buddha, they teach awareness, consciousness, and they also teach compassion, loving your neighbor as yourself, not wishing harm upon anyone. That's true abundance. It's just giving unconditional love to yourself and also to the universe. All right, so the next insight that I have, so after about, I decided to get out of the shower and generate some heat from within. And now I was just kind of put some warm, snuggly clothes on, and I was just kind of walking around my house. I was drinking water and just kind of being present and just enjoying the cool insights that I was getting. I noticed my body was teeming with energy. Lots of energy in my body. And it's very important here in this time to be able to breathe, and also just like shake your body out, get into your body. This is something that people don't know how to do. And that's why they end up having bad trips, because they have all this energy, but they don't know what to do with it. It's scary. And then they just try and repress the energy and avoid it and like try and distract themselves from feeling their own body. And now the whole trip just becomes running away from the present moment, which is not what we want to do. So in order to face the present moment and to be with it, what I do, it helps a lot, just be in my body. Just like bounce around, breathe deeply, shake it out, do some stretches, get into your body, feel it, enjoy it. Do some dancing, do some breathing, okay? So that's what I was doing at this point. And I was just getting tons of deep insights about reality, about awareness, about abundance, about my life purpose, my direction for my YouTube channel and my business. So a lot of awesome, really deep insights. One of them was my own personal tendency to ritualize life. So on this trip, I actually noticed a lot of unconscious patterns that I was exhibiting, specifically with this tendency to ritualize and to do tasks unconsciously. So right now, my coach is having me take every single night and review my goals, review my values, and to journal about what went well that day, to basically reflect on the day, what I want to do better the next day. And so every morning and every night I've been listening to affirmations, reviewing my ideal self. So that's what my coach is having me do, and it's extremely powerful. But the problem that I noticed was that it got to a point where I was kind of doing it like a chore, where I was like ritualizing it, where I was just doing it just to do it, kind of unconsciously. So I used to do this a lot when I would meditate. Most people do this. When you first begin your meditation practice, when I started meditating 4 years ago, I would just do it just to do it. And it was very just kind of rote, routine, monotonous, mechanical. And my teachers always told me, do whatever you can to make sure your meditation does not become mechanical. And in life in general, make sure you're not going through the motions. You need to be consciously present and aware, making decisions consciously, knowing what you're doing. So some people say, oh, the law of attraction, I do visualization, affirmations. It doesn't work for me. Why aren't my visualizations working? The reason why is because first of all, you don't have understanding of what you're doing. You're just doing it because someone told you to do it. The law of attraction, programming your subconscious mind, meditating, raising your awareness, even succeeding in business or relationships, it doesn't work if you're just following rules, which is what I talk about in my video, Rules Are for Sheep. You can't just follow rules blindly. You need to understand why those rules are in place. So if someone's telling you, do a visualization and that'll help you to program your subconscious mind and then you'll be able to attract more abundance into your life. Okay, great. That's true. That stuff works. But you need to understand why you're doing it. How does it work? Why is it that when I visualize something or when I do affirmations, why does that change my life? How does it work? What's the understanding there? So you need to actually be conscious. So when you're doing your affirmations, for example, not just repeating them blindly like a monkey, just like, I deserve to be wealthy, I deserve to be wealthy, I deserve to be wealthy, just like a monkey, but you need to actually contemplate what you're saying to yourself. I deserve to be wealthy. You need to think about that. And then you need to feel the actual affirmation entering your subconscious. Feel the energy and the emotions of it. Believe it to be true. Actually realize that that is true. So you're not saying an affirmation just because you want it to be true. Say the affirmation because it is true for yourself already. Notice where in your life it is true. All right. So, yeah, one of my affirmations is my income increases whether I'm working, sleeping, or playing. I love that affirmation. And many people say, oh, but if I say that, my income increases whether I'm working, sleeping, or playing, then I'll just be lying to myself. Then I'll just be like, I wish my income increased whether I'm working, sleeping, or playing, but for me, I have to work in order to make money. Well, don't be too fast, because if you have money in a savings account that's making interest, technically, you're making money even while you're sleeping. If you have maybe an investment, maybe you have some Bitcoin, maybe you have some real estate or whatever, and that investment is appreciating in value, then yeah, you're actually making money while you're sleeping or while you're playing. So the point here is just whatever you focus on in your life will grow and expand. Okay? So this problem of following rules is a giant issue, specifically when people hire coaches or they buy business courses or programs. I've done this a lot in my life, where you get a program and you just kind of blindly follow whatever the teacher tells you to do. This is the same in spirituality. You're trying to raise your consciousness, just blindly doing what the guru tells you to do without thinking about it for yourself, just doing it unconsciously like a monkey. The only way to actually get change and results in your life is to take conscious action, to actually do the thing because you want to do it. It needs to come from within. So when you're doing affirmations, you're not doing them because someone else is telling you to do them. You're doing them because you want to do them. You actually like doing affirmations. Something that I've started enjoying recently is just doing affirmations. I love it. It's actually fun. And I'll talk about that more in a future video. Okay? Also, while I was with my girlfriend when we were tripping, we actually kind of started to communicate telepathically. And this is very common for people who have higher states of awareness. I even when I wasn't doing psychedelics, but when I was on a meditation retreat, when you meditate for 5 or 6 days straight, after you can actually feel people's thoughts, you can feel other people's emotions without having to talk to them. You're more tapped into what's called subtle energy. And subtle energy is always here, it's always around, but most of the time you're not aware enough to tap into it. So when you do something like a psychedelic, all of a sudden people become aware of subtle energy. They're like, oh my God, society is corrupt. Oh, my whole house is a mess. The cars are smelly. So you notice all of the toxic, subtle energy that's present in if you live in a city or just in our culture in general. If you're watching a TV advertisement, you see they're trying to sell you Coca-Cola, which is poison. If you're on a psychedelic, you can tap into that energy, and all of a sudden you realize, oh shit, society's a lot more toxic and unconscious than I thought it was. And for a lot of people, they get scared. They don't want to realize that. They think, oh my God, the world is ruled by demons. Oh no. And then they go on Facebook. They're like, oh, the Illuminati, conspiracy. It's not that the world is evil. It's not that other people are evil. It's just that there's a lot of unawareness, unconsciousness, and selfishness. And that appears as evil. But it's really not. When you raise your awareness, you see, oh, it's just selfishness. And that's okay. And as time goes on, from a societal standpoint, as time goes on, reality heals itself gradually. It might take 100 years, might take 500 years, but slowly we're making progress as a society, as a globe. Many people say, oh, the world is moving backwards. We're going to shit. The world's going to end. Not true at all. Actually, we're making amazing progress, and it's very slow, but we're learning every single day. We're learning what doesn't work so that we can choose what does work. I'll talk about toxic worldviews more in the future, something I'm really excited to talk about. All right, yeah, so my girlfriend and I were able to kind of communicate telepathically. I would have an insight, and then at the same time, she would start laughing. I would realize something, and then she would react to it, even though I wasn't talking. So this kind of telepathic communication is crazy. Also, she pointed something out to me. I was kind of thirsty. This was about 2 hours into my trip. I was a little bit thirsty, peaking on the LSD at this point. And I go to pour myself some water, and I go to drink the water, and my girlfriend asked me, did you have an intention? I'm like, what? She's like, what was your intention? I mean, my intention for what? She's like, when you drank the water, what was your intention? And I was like, oh, I didn't have an intention. I drank the water unconsciously. Just to drink, like unconsciously. So what I did, my next sip, I grabbed the glass with both of my hands. I sent blessings to all beings in the entire universe. I set the intention that this water is going to hydrate me and it's going to keep me alive so that I can share awareness and love with the entire cosmos. And with that intention, I blessed the water, I was grateful, and I took a sip in full awareness and mindfulness. And I realized the power of consciousness, of intention, of being aware of the present moment, being mindful, being deliberate with your actions. You are the creator of your life. The reason why your life is not in the circumstance that you want it to be, the reason why you're struggling with addictions or laziness or procrastination or anger issues, whatever it is, the reason why you're struggling is because you're not deliberately taking actions in each moment. You're switching your brain off, or your mind or your awareness, you're switching it off. And you're just going into like conditioned cycle land. So sometimes at night, if in the past, when I just wanted to like shut my mind off and relax, I would just like put on my phone and just start watching some videos that would entertain me. Sometimes I like watching videos about Magic the Gathering. It's a nerdy trading card game, but I love it. It's super fun. I've been playing since I was a kid. And sometimes I just watch some videos of some guys playing Magic or watch some chess videos. That's what I like to watch sometimes. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're doing it with the intention of just being unconscious and lazy, then you're actually programming your subconscious mind and telling yourself that you're an unconscious and lazy person. And then you're going to give into your past conditioning. So if you're playing a game, a video game unconsciously, or you're watching Netflix unconsciously, now you're in unconscious mode. Now you're gonna get a craving for some food. You're like, oh, okay, let me go get a snack. Now you're gonna go get your unconscious snack. You're gonna say, oh, now I'm gonna smoke some weed. You unconsciously smoke weed while you're unconscious. See, now the whole energy is unconscious because you're trying to shut your mind off. You're not actually deliberate with what you're doing. And that's why your life is not where it is, because actually you created the situation of your life by not taking enough responsibility for every single moment. All right, now I want to talk to you about one of the coolest insights that I had on my 1V-LSD trip, which was the most enlightened step I have ever taken in my entire life. Just by taking one step, I entered Buddhahood. And it was extremely profound. So after my girlfriend's telling me, oh, what was your intention for drinking the water? Now I'm just like hyper aware of every single movement I take with mindfulness, because I've cultivated a lot of mindfulness in my life. I've been on over 10 Buddhist Vipassana retreats, and there's a lot of mindfulness I try and maintain in my daily life, but there's different degrees and levels of mindfulness. There's like basic mindfulness where you're just like, okay, I'm brushing my teeth, okay, I'm opening the door, basic mindfulness. But in every single moment, you can go so detailed and granular where one step might take you 30 seconds just to take one step. Lifting your heel, lifting your foot. You notice every single movement. You notice the psychological intention before you go to take the step. You notice the heel of your foot slowly lifts off the floor. And then the foot raises. And now the weight shifts in your body, shifts to your supporting foot. This is called walking meditation, and I'm gonna make a video teaching walking meditation in the future. I love doing walking meditation. It's very, very powerful. They teach it to you on Vipassana retreats. But basically, I was aware of my intentions, and I was going. I needed to use the bathroom, needed to pee. So I was walking to the bathroom to go pee, and I noticed, wait a second. Where am I trying to go? In this moment, spontaneously, I decided, okay, I'm going to be as aware as I possibly can. So I took one step towards the bathroom, and it was very mindful and aware. But the next step that I realized, I was like, wait a second, this next step that I'm going to take, I'm going to make this one step my masterpiece. If my entire life could be summed up with just this one step, then so be it. This one step, I will take this one step with such excellence and so much awareness and mindfulness and purpose and intention that this one step will transform the entire world, the entire universe for all of eternity. This will be the best step. As in the way a master like Picasso paints with his brush, with intention and mindfulness and purpose, paying attention to every single little detail. I'm going to do that with this one step that I'm about to take. And with that intention, I took a super mindful step, noticing the raising of the heel, paying attention. Whenever my mind wanted to wander and to go somewhere else, I would bring it back to the step, paying attention to the sensations in my body, staying as present as possible, without wavering, present. And with that, my vibration raised up into the level of enlightened masters. So if you're familiar with David Hawkins' scale of consciousness, I'm totally just going to bring this whiteboard into the frame. Hopefully you guys can see. So David Hawkins made a scale of consciousness. It looks like this. I could have easily just put it up on the editing, but I'm going to draw it right now. So there's basically different levels of consciousness and awareness. You've probably seen this before. In very low vibrations, you have shame, guilt, anger, right? So these are like the low vibrations. And it gets to a point in the middle where it's like acceptance, and then up here is love. And then at the top, resonating at the scale of 800 to 1,000, so this would be like 35, 50, 75, 100, 500, and then over here 800 to 1,000 is called pure enlightenment. Enlightenment. This is the level of consciousness that Jesus Christ, the Buddha, Krishna, Nagarjuna, Muhammad, the enlightened masters, this was their state of consciousness. And it's possible for you to tap into this state of consciousness where it's pure oneness, bliss, consciousness, intention. This is a saintly state of consciousness. It's possible for you to tap into this. You need to be as aware as Jesus was, or as aware as the Buddha was, which is possible if you meditate, if you use psychedelics properly, if you are conscious and you have an enlightened intention, then you can actually move into this vibration around 800 to 1,000. And I'm going to tell you, it doesn't last forever. For me, I'm still working on my ability to maintain that. This is a process. So Normally, your base vibration, if you're watching this video, is probably around like 200, which is just like neutrality. Might even be lower than that, which is more toxic, like guilty, and I've definitely been there a lot. So slowly, as we raise our consciousness, do meditation, improve ourselves, personal development, slowly your vibration raises, and I'm working on just embodying a higher vibration in each moment, because it's not enough just to get there once. So when I was taking this one step, I literally became one with all of the enlightened masters. So I felt the energy of my meditation teachers who taught me how to do Vipassana and meditation. They're like 60 years old, and they've been meditating for like 40 years, their whole lives. They've devoted it to meditation. So I felt their energy. I tapped into the Buddha's energy, to Jesus's energy, because time is not linear. These saints, like the Buddha, Jesus, they are present here. They're here. They're with you now. That's why they say Jesus he's in your heart. The religious people, they don't know what that means. They're just like, oh yeah, he's in my heart. But no, he's actually in your heart right now. He's actually here and present, aware. It's awareness. And it's possible for you to actually merge and become one with the Buddha, become one with Muhammad or Krishna or Nagarjuna or Milarepa, whatever these enlightened masters are. You can actually become one with them by reaching their state, by having the enlightened intention, by taking one step with full consciousness and full awareness. So yeah, literally in the middle of my step, I literally merged and became one with all the enlightened masters. And then after a few seconds, it kind of was fleeting. It went away for a little bit, but then it came back. And then it went away. So it wasn't very solid and abiding. But I just noticed that, okay, so it's connected to my intention to be mindful and to be aware. The deeper, the more potent, the more devoted I am to being enlightened in this moment, the more enlightened I am. So they say, this is another insight I had. They say if you want to become enlightened, you need to want it as badly as someone whose hair is on fire wants to find a river to dunk their head in. And I realized that people completely misunderstand that. They think, oh, I gotta want enlightenment in the future. Or I gotta want it so bad that I'm gonna do 1,000 hours of sitting. You don't need to do 1,000 hours of sitting. You need to do 30 seconds of the best meditation sitting that has ever been done. Ever. That's what's necessary. You gotta want it bad now in this moment. Not wanting it like, oh, in 5 years I'll get enlightened. No, you can get enlightened right now. You already are enlightened, technically. But the problem is your state of consciousness is not in alignment. It's not mirrored with the enlightened state of consciousness. And that's not something that you can shift willy-nilly just by snapping your fingers like, oh, I'm enlightened now. No, you actually need to do something like psychedelics or meditation in order to get you there. So that was the most enlightened step I've ever taken. So, okay, guys, I've talked a lot. What's the verdict? Is 1V-LSD a legal replacement for LSD? And the answer I'm going to give is yes. And honestly, I actually liked 1V-LSD a little bit better. I noticed that it came on quicker. The high was cleaner. It was... it's hard to explain psychedelic trips. It was a very clean high. Also, the come down was very smooth as well. So the consciousness shift is very smooth when you're coming up. The peak was very powerful and strong. So it's very important when you're tripping, you have your safe area, because when you're peaking after 3 or 4 hours, you might have tons of energy in your body, profound insights. You need to be able to sit with those. And the 1V-LSD was very strong, which I like. I like the psychedelic to be strong. I don't want it to be weak sauce. I want to have deep insights and awareness. And then the come down was very smooth and pretty chill. So yeah, after that, after about maybe 6 to 8 hours, it started coming down. After about 10 hours, I was basically not high anymore, although I was definitely different. So there was still lingering after effects. They call it the afterglow. It could last a day or two, maybe even 3 days after the trip. And for me personally, I had a little bit of an ego backlash after I did the 1V-LSD, which has nothing to do with the substance, but has to do with the awareness. So after you trip, be prepared for the next maybe few days. You might just feel a little bit tired or a little bit more like a stronger avoidance to doing meditation. You might want to avoid doing any kind of spiritual work or spiritual practice. That's normal. So whenever, if you do a really high dose of psychedelics and you have a breakthrough, afterwards, when you come back down to planet Earth, you come back down to regular baseline waking state, ego state of consciousness, which isn't bad, just the waking state. It's very common. You can notice that there's sometimes an avoidance to be aware after. So just be aware of that. And that's all I gotta say. I would highly recommend 1V-LSD. The website's called syntexsynthetics.com. You can order it there. I'm not making any money besides the few $100s they donated to me to make this video. So this is my honest opinion. I really liked 1V-LSD. It's a great substance. It has the potential to be a legal replacement for LSD. It basically feels exactly like regular LSD, and it's even better because it's legal and it's measurable and it's safe. So obviously, take your own precautions. Don't trust what I have to say. I'm not a doctor. If you decide to do 1V-LSD and you jump off a cliff, your parents can't sue me because this is just an informational harm reduction based video. And I said that at the end, so I covered my ass. And that's all I got to say. Hope you guys enjoyed. I got more videos like this coming, and I'll see you in the next one. And actually, before I go, I just wanted to add that I made a free guided meditation that is extremely powerful for raising your awareness and basically bathing your entire body in wakeful energy. It's called the Hollow Body Meditation. It was taught to me by a Tibetan Lama. Super powerful. If you wanted to try it out for yourself, you could use it while you're doing a psychedelic trip, or you can just use it every day while you're sober. Then click that first link in the first comment in the description, and you can get that for free. All right, that's all I got to say, and I'll see you in the next one.